Did you read the same text I did? There's the son took the woman's car with the girlfriend. Okay, the girlfriend down there reported to her caseworker that they killed some lady and burned her house.
Police officers and U.S. Marshals were called to a home in a quiet gated community in Sylvania Township, Ohio. Could a text from a runaway young woman really be leading them to the scene of a murder and arson? Just what happened in this sleepy little town, and what would draw investigators some 1,700 miles away and to an arrest in the dangerous cartel hotbed of Juarez, Mexico?
I told her he had $5, to kill his mom. Well, I killed his son on the side, might as well kill another. I don't feel bad about it.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of Nicole Jones, a mother who took in her adult son and the troubles that would follow him. Juarez, Mexico is one of the world's most dangerous cities, a border town with a heavy drug cartel presence and rampant crime. On May the 8th, 2 American citizens, a man and a teenage girl, were spotted attempting to sell jewelry on the streets of that city. The two were quickly picked up by Mexican authorities who wanted to make sure the man wasn't attempting to traffic the young woman. There was no way they could have known that the 2 people they were taking in to protect were actually involved in a heinous crime some 1,700 miles away. The 2 quickly identified themselves to Mexican police as 33-year-old Jonathan Jones of Sylvania Township, Ohio, and 17-year-old Caitlin Coons of Canton, Ohio. Caitlin explained that she was with Jonathan willingly and was in no danger. While the officers were verifying their identities, a search of the car they had been traveling in turned up a very small amount of marijuana. Jonathan told the officers the marijuana was his and that he had been told that possession of such a small amount in Mexico was not against the law. The police informed him that that information was wrong, and he was arrested and taken to the local jail. Since Caitlin was a minor and an American citizen, the Mexican authorities handed her over to police in El Paso, Texas, which sits just on the other side of the border between the U.S. and Mexico from Juarez. The authorities there wouldn't be taking her into protective custody, though. A trail of questions had finally caught up with Caitlin, one that had begun with an encounter with U.S. Border Patrol officers days before in New Mexico. One that seemed routine at the time that left Caitlin and Jonathan to go free, just one day ahead of some very disturbing news. During the encounter with the U.S. Border Patrol, the officers had found out that Jonathan had an arrest warrant out for his arrest from Woods County, Ohio. He had missed a court date, and it had been days since his ankle monitor had reported his whereabouts. Both Caitlin and Jonathan would say that the Border Patrol officers let them go after saying that their job was to watch for things and people coming across the border to the U.S. and not the other way around. Hours later, a notice from Canton, Ohio would come in to those same Border Patrol officers that there was a missing juvenile report out on Caitlin. By that time, the pair had moved on to Texas and were headed to the El Paso area. The Border Patrol officers got back in touch with the investigative detective in Ohio and let him know that they had not just seen Caitlin, but Jonathan as well, and the two had been driving a 2021 Buick Encore registered to his mother, Nicole. Meanwhile, Caitlin's social worker had alerted the police to a text she had received from the young woman, one with a very disturbing admission. A text that said she had been involved in 2 murders and an arson. The detective was unable to reach Nicole by telephone, so he called the police in her hometown to do a wellness check on the woman. Because of the warrant out for Jonathan, members of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Recovery Unit were also dispatched to that location.
Regional Dispatch, non-emergency.
Yeah, this is Detective Sedaris from the Canton Police Department.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I am investigating a possible kidnapping involving a Jonathan Jones. They were stopped in Arizona by the Border Patrol in a Nicole Jones vehicle. That's Jonathan's mom. Now, the 17-year-old girl that is with Jonathan, who has a nationwide pickup, texted and said that they murdered Jonathan's mother, somebody else, and set a house on fire.
And we're just checking a safety, or we want to find out about the vehicle, or?
Well, I know the vehicle's in Arizona because the Border Patrol stopped 4 hours ago. But I just want to, make sure Nicole's all right.
And Nicole's last name again is?
Jones.
So her vehicle's in Arizona with her son, or no?
Yeah, no. Her son, Jonathan, was with a 17-year-old official missing, Caitlin Coons.
Sylvania Township Police and U.S. Marshals, upon arriving at the home, found it locked and no one coming to the door. A package was on the doorstep, delivered some days before, and no one had picked up the mail. Once again, Nicole could not be reached at any of the contact numbers they or the gated community property manager had available.
This information is third hand, but we know her car is, and because we know the Border Patrol stopped that car down this Arizona.
It's now in Mexico?
We don't know. They're trying to find it right now. They got an airplane up and they're trying to locate it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it was.
But this is pretty concerning with the package out there and what they're saying.
Well, we can call the fire department to 4th Century.
Has she ever seen her?
She said she's odd.
Where's her mail? Where's her mailbox?
So.
Okay, where's the mailbox?
What about the garage? Is the garage door open?
No, garage doors aren't.
Do you know what the code is?
No, we don't have keys or codes or any of that.
So let's stop for a moment and take a look at the persons involved in this story. Caitlin Coons was a 17-year-old woman who had run away from home numerous times from the ages of 12 to 14. Originally from Akron, Ohio, she would move around the state over the next few years, going into a number of social services programs and group homes, staying with them for a few months, and then running away again. She would be in and out of trouble throughout those years, also developing an eating disorder that at times would require hospitalization. It was one of those facilities she had escaped from when she met Jonathan Jones in August of 2022 through an online dating app. Jonathan was a 32-year-old Army veteran who had served for 12 months overseas in Kandahar, Afghanistan, before being discharged from the service with a partial disability in 2011. According to his own testimony, Jonathan had been hit in the head by a piece of armor plate while performing maintenance duties and suffered injuries that left him with minor memory issues and tinnitus, or ringing of the ears. On returning home from overseas, he had divorced his wife and went on to have 2 children with a girlfriend in the following years. He had had a tough time holding down a job, and the relationship ended. He would end up coming home to live with his mother, Nicole Jones, who had been given a home in Sylvania Township by her own father. 53-year-old Nicole Jones was twice divorced and spent most of her adult life working as a phlebotomist at the local hospital. Abusive relationships had taken their toll on her over the years, and she was unable to work. She spent most of her days within the home. She was very devoted to her son and apparently had become very protective of not just him, but the life they shared together. In short, Jonathan and Caitlin fell in love, and Nicole didn't want them to be together because of the 16-year age difference between the two. It came to a head when they were arrested in Woods County, Ohio, and Jonathan would spend 5 months awaiting trial for contributing to the delinquency of a minor and pandering. Able to finally make bond, Jonathan returned to his mother's home, now with an ankle monitor on and under court orders to not have any contact with Caitlin. It didn't take long before Caitlin showed up on his doorstep, and Jonathan snuck her into the house where she hid out in a bathroom. Nicole had no idea that Caitlin was in the home, and then things took a disastrous turn. So let's go back to the police and the U.S. Marshals at Nicole Jones' home. After making entry, they walk into the small home, and what they come across looks nothing like a crime scene. The place is messy and obviously lived in, but there were no signs of even a struggle, much less a murder. And there was no body, and it was readily apparent that there had been no attempt at arson within or around the home. There were no signs of Nicole either. Many of the items that one would expect her to use in her day-to-day life, including her prescription medications, were all present. If she had planned on leaving for an extended period, surely she would have taken such items with her. There's no sign that her son Jonathan had been there for some time either. A messy desk with drink cans and cigarette packages littering it showed no signs of having been disturbed for some time, indicating that no one else had been there for some time either.
Police department!
Right here, quarter of a coin.
Yeah, that car's in Douglas, Arizona. Yeah, that way, yeah.
I wonder if they could have did this arson somewhere else. How about the garage? Did you guys check the garage?
Yes.
Anything in there?
You would have heard it.
Shake plate. No, I meant, is there any vehicles in
No.
there?
So this right here was brought in. Yeah, of course.
Why don't you, Dave, check that mailbox and see what is in there.
Okay.
What kind of mail.
All right.
Yes, the detective from Lake said that this guy was supposed to move in to take care of her. This other detective from White House, or from Lake, said that he ran into John and Caitlin in January in their jurisdiction. So,
really?
and he said she's the brains of the operation.
The officers and marshals are left to wait for a forensic team to arrive. They know that just because something doesn't outwardly look like a crime scene, it doesn't mean that there aren't answers to be discovered. The men discuss what they know about the case and the people so far. One of the marshals joins back in with more insights into the case.
Says, I just killed 2 people and I did 2 arsons. I'm in deep trouble, and they don't know I'm away from Ohio and about and that was kind of the end of it. But that's
There's the money?
That's
Is that
what-
her holding the money?
I don't know. I'm guessing this is her phone because clearly it says, right, Caitlin, whatever. But so Canton PD detectives are working that side of it.
Jesus. All right, that's why we're going to get a detective down here.
Hey, mom's
Start-
probably in the trunk.
And what?
I said, that dude's mom's probably in the trunk.
Oh, who knows? I mean, I don't know what income, maybe she, they milked her for that, or who knows?
But I'm saying if they don't have a car, I wonder if they could see if they could put a locator to stop it at the border if they're trying to cross the
We've already done that, and they got airplanes up right now.
Oh, awesome.
So, I don't know, man. I think this is definitely the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's, not going to look good.
No,
Not gonna
I don't
turn
think so
out.
either.
Now, let's shift our focus south, far south. Mexican authorities have handed Caitlin over to police in El Paso, Texas, and they have alerted them that within the seized car they found Nicole Jones' wallet, social security card, her credit cards, her ID, and health insurance information, and a camouflaged backpack with burgundy stains on it. Caitlin, now being held in the El Paso Border Patrol office, is taken into a room for questioning. FBI Special Agents Colette Baumley and Hannah Mazza come in. They are well aware that something has happened, but they need information about what really went down in Ohio and along the way to Mexico. They know Caitlin has that information, and to get it, they try to build a rapport with the young woman first in hopes that she will open up.
So we're here because we just want to talk to you, figure out what happened, how you made it down there, if you were treated okay, because obviously...
I don't really want to talk about it. I already talked to the police about it.
In Mexico?
Yes.
Okay.
They have a translator.
So we're calling trying to say, like, our concern.
I know nothing bad happened. I was just down here for a week or so, and then when I went to go use the bathroom, that's when the Mexican police like pulled me aside and was like, "You're gonna have to come with us. You don't have a traveling visa."
Okay.
That's what happened. And besides that, nothing else happened. Like, I've been to a couple Mexican restaurants. I've slept at a couple motels here and there. Like, that's it.
Okay.
There's nothing, like, deep, like, oh, I went on a killing spree. No, it's not what happened.
Okay.
And I came to Mexico because I was looking for a new beginning.
The two FBI agents are kind to her and continue building a level of trust. They spend time discussing her relationship with Jonathan, asking if she cares about him, and taking a few minutes to hear a story of how he had taken care of a stray cat the two had taken in before his arrest in October the year before.
Who were you traveling with?
The person, he ended up having to go to jail because they found marijuana in the car, even though Border Patrol let us go with it or whatever.
That was Jonathan, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Jones. And, I was with him, and they took him, and then they said some time in Mexico. Apparently, you can't be alone in Mexico if you're a child. And I was like, well, I'm about to be 18, and I'm literally in Ohio, USA. When I was 13, that's when I was allowed to go off on my own. So,
okay, so Jonathan, and he, I think you mentioned before, that's your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you meet him?
I met him before the car accident, and I met him at a store, and that was whenever I broke out of the MS program, which was an abusive eating disorder program. And whenever I was at the store, I gave him my number and I left. And then like a few days after that, after living out on the streets, I turned myself in, and I stayed in contact with him ever since. And he's just been a caring person, so I ended up dating him because I'm about to be 18.
Okay.
But we haven't done anything sexual because I already know the rules of that.
Just sounds like he was a friend, right?
Boyfriend.
But he treated you very well. That's what I mean. Like, he treated you very well.
Yeah, he made sure I ate, made sure the cat was eating. Whenever we did get the cat, he always checked up on his mom. He's just very caring.
Okay. So, do you by any chance know kind of like what a dangerous area you were in?
No, I did see like the military and the police drive by and stuff, but like they were driving around so frequently, like I didn't think anything was gonna happen, and like I know how to defend myself because like I grew up in the hood of Ohio, so like I know how to fight for myself. And I've been in fights with girls my age. That's the reason why I don't become friends with people my age, because it's just I don't understand them.
Right. So I get it, and I have no doubt that you can defend yourself.
They then turn the questions back to test the waters with Caitlin about Nicole.
Does Nikki know that Jonathan's in jail in Mexico?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him since he got taken away, so I don't know if he called her or if the police called or what happened with that. I do not know.
She knows that you're going.
Yeah, like I said, we offered her to come with us.
Right. When was the last time then that you talked to her?
Well, there's some losing though because of Mexico. So then mine was the only one working, but then mine kept glitching out. So we didn't really have working friends in Mexico.
Probably because you were hooked up to the Mexican network. So
probably
about to Mexico was launching to talk to her.
What?
When did you want to talk to Nikki before?
I think it was right when we went to Arizona, when we talked to her. But I don't know when that was. I just know it was right before we got to Mexico. We talked to her as we were making our way out to, Mexico or whatever, but then she was talking about, she's busy, she doesn't want to talk, going on walks. Like I said, she's a busy person. I'm not going to keep an old woman. I'm not going to get yelled at by somebody. So we just kept traveling and stuff, and we were like, maybe she just is doing her own thing with, not bother her.
Got it.
So that's how that went.
Okay. When did you guys leave in Ohio?
I do not know that either.
You don't know?
It was
a guesstimate?
I don't know an estimate either. I just know that we entered Mexico a week ago and that we went through some states along the way.
Okay.
I don't remember the states. I know one of them was Arizona. I know that we were in Texas at some point, and I know that we went to Mexico. That's all I know. I can't give you the exact dates because my brain doesn't let me process that because I have a brain injury.
The agents let Caitlin know that an old boyfriend of hers had alerted authorities when he had received messages saying that she had done some terrible things.
I understand your shame. You're not a victim, okay? I understand that you want to be an adult, and that's fine. I'm going to talk to you like an adult. I'm going to talk to you face-to-face right now about the issue that we have with this, okay? So it says he killed 2 people.
Okay, but like, you understand, he has access to be able to hack in. Let me finish.
Alright, says she killed 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
We can't find Nikki. We don't know where she's at.
I didn't know she was missing.
And your guys have her car,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys had all of her credit cards.
I didn't know that she went missing. So who killed her?
We don't know.
No, but I want to know who killed her because she was a nice mom.
Like, we want to say, you know, she hasn't been seen for a while, and it says we killed 2 people. We don't know that she's dead.
Okay, but you're putting that on me when I thought that she was doing perfectly fine and everything. And I told you I didn't send those messages. He's been able to hack my account.
What we're trying to figure out is what happened and where she could be.
I don't know.
And if Jonathan is somehow associated with her going missing or she's not her being dead.
He wouldn't do that. He cared about her. He made sure that me and her ate. Like, he made meals for us and was trying to get his mom to eat and stuff. Like, she wouldn't eat just because, like, her dentures would always, you know, be in her mouth and she didn't, like, she felt uncomfortable eating like that for people. But, you know, he kept telling her, you know, it's okay to eat like that. Like, you know, my girlfriend's okay with you. Like, she hasn't eaten it for herself. Like, Mom, come play cards with us. Mom, come do this. Like, you know, we want you to be a part of this.
How old is her mom?
I don't know that.
Now that Caitlin is on shakier ground and her resolve is wavering, they let her in on more information they have. While Caitlin and Jonathan were heading on their meandering path to Mexico, they had left a trail behind them.
So, Jonathan took a gun to a pawn shop here in El Paso and told people that his mom was dead. He did. So, Caitlin, we want to help you.
I didn't know he did that. I didn't know there was a gun. I didn't know his mom said. Like, I don't know what you guys want me to say.
He just was the truth. We want to help. That's all. We just want to help you.
So she's dead. Did you guys find the body? No, I'm being serious. I don't know what happened. That's the reason why I'm asking. Did you guys find her body?
Literally your help. You just told me that this woman was supposed to be waiting to open her doors to you. I think she deserves to be remembered properly, right?
I didn't know she was dead, so I don't really want that. I didn't know she was dead. Like, literally, when we left the house and everything, she was fine. Like, she was literally laying in bed on her phone. So, this is all this to me.
Caitlin may or may not have realized that her explanations have run her into a dead-end street. The agents push a bit more, firmly, but still maintain the trust levels they had established with her early on.
She's not missing them. I don't know. She can't be dead.
Why?
Because she was fine when we left.
Caitlin, we have, not only do we have the pawn shop owner's statement, we have the gun now, and then we also have video surveillance putting you guys at the pawn shop.
I know we went to the pawn shop or whatever, but I didn't know about the gun. I knew that was, he wanted to pawn something to get money to be able to go into Mexico. That's all I knew, because they said that there's border where you have to pay to get in.
Right. We also have another pawn shop where I'm sure that you know other items were pawned off at that one too. And Hannah's right. So when we talk to him, and he's going to try to point the finger at you, we're trying to help you. There's a difference between being 17 and being 33. Okay?
I get that, but I literally, I just don't know.
I think you do know.
Well, it's a matter of fact of, you know, put it all on him, even though it's not all on him, or go to jail.
So it doesn't have to be one or the other. Okay? Her job is to present the truth and to find the truth. And that's what we want. We just want the truth. And we want to give you an opportunity to tell your story before he tells it for you.
It was all, it was all me. I told him that I gave him $5. I ran away from an independent living house and I told him he had $5, to kill her, and he told me that he couldn't do it because that was his mom. And so he wouldn't do it, so I strangled her out and I took a rock and banged her head a whole bunch of times. And then I told him about it and he was shocked, so then I let him give him a moment, he threw up, and then we went to go get cleaning supplies that I cashed out and stuff, and then we cleaned up the body, cleaned up everything in the house. We disposed her body in a trash dumpster, and he couldn't do it, so I, was the one that put the body in the trash. And then after that, we took his ankle thing off, and then we went on the run. And most of the way, he was really struggling with it because it was his mom, and he needed marijuana. And that's the reason why, there was marijuana gummies in the car when we tried to enter Mexico.
Why did you want to kill her?
Because she wouldn't let us do it.
And you loved him.
They've gotten what they wanted to hear from Caitlin. She has implicated herself and Jonathan in the murder of Nicole Jones. At this point, with no body discovered, they had not even been able to establish that a murder had even happened. It looks like things were a done deal. And then Caitlin opens up and offers something more.
I also killed another person in Arizona in a drive-by. I don't know who it was. Also committed 2 arsons in Arizona in the middle of nowhere. Don't know what that was either.
Okay. So it was a drive-by. What happened?
I, loaded the gun and stuff and shot the person, and I left real fast, and then after that I washed off the residue of the gunpowder.
Okay. Where were you when you had the gun?
I know I was in Phoenix. There's Tucson that we were also in, and I don't know the other one.
Do you know where the drive-by happened at?
I think Tucson.
Are you certain that there are 16?
I don't know what happened. I just remember pulling out the gun out of the window and shooting.
Was it a male, woman, old, young?
I think it was a woman.
A woman. Do you remember how old she looked?
She looked old and she had glasses, and she was by to the bus stop.
Okay. Did you see her fall to the ground? No? Are you sure that it hit her?
I was so quick to get out of there because of the loud shot.
Were you in the car? Or you were in the car?
I was in the driver's seat.
You were in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Is there a reason, that precipitated it, that made you do it?
I don't know. I was like, well, I killed someone, so I might as well kill another.
Okay. And what did Jonathan say?
He just told me that he has a bad feeling that it was all going to catch up and that, you know, he can't believe he killed his mom and that he misses his mom and, you know, basically that he wish he didn't do it.
Did he kill his mom or did you?
I killed her, but he, like, sort of, he kind of helped with the body retraction, but then after him dropping the feet, I told him, let me do it, you can't do this.
They have to get back to the subject of the death of Nicole. That is the crime before them, and there will be an opportunity to match up her admission of the drive-by shooting afterwards.
That, you strangled her. How did you do that? Okay, where was she when that happened?
She was trying to get something out of the fridge, and I flipped her over and started doing it, and then I took the rock that I had, got right on the floor, and I started throwing it at her head.
Is that what the scratches are on your arm?
I don't know what these are.
No. Remember, like, if you lift up your sleeves, the other ones, are they from her?
No.
No?
Oh, these are self-harm marks.
Okay.
Cutting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did she fight at all?
Yeah.
What?
Did she fight you at all?
She was very in shock, so she didn't fight. Like, the only thing I remember is the, like, hackling with blood still up in her mouth, like.
Was that after she was hit with the rock? Did that happen?
Yeah, and then there was, like, blood clots that started coming out of her.
Out of where?
I think it came out of her mouth. They were, like, really big.
Okay. How long would you say that you strangled her for before you hit her with the rock?
I did it for 5 minutes, hit her with the rock, and then I kept strangling her. And then after that, after strangling her for like a good, like at least 10 minutes, I started banging really hard with the rock again.
Okay. So after the first 5 minutes of strangling her, do you think that she had passed away at that point, or?
I think it's whenever I stopped strangling her and put down the rock that she finally laid it out.
Okay. Okay.
Did that happen in the morning or the night?
It happened in the morning, and then the body was disposed of that night.
Okay.
She wouldn't let us be together. Like, nobody would let us be together, and it's kind of sad because it's like, it's obviously, it's obviously, like, I want this, like, I want him, like, I don't care if he's old, I don't care if by the time I turn 18 he's about to be an old-ass man, I don't. I love him. There's nobody like him, is what I was trying to explain to him. And then I even told him, like, you know, this is the reason why I killed your mom, because she's being very inappropriate with you, and she wouldn't let us be together. If only she would have let us be together, I don't think I would have ever become a murderer in my life.
Caitlin had proven to be anything but a little girl lost. She would be officially arrested and held for extradition back to Ohio to face the heaviest charges possible. Jonathan, after serving a couple of days for marijuana possession in a cramped Mexican jail cell, is turned over to the authorities in El Paso. Jonathan has no way of knowing what Caitlin has told the FBI agents. He just knows he's being held and that they know about the fugitive arrest warrant out for him. After reading him his rights and him waffling on requesting a lawyer, Special Agent Baumley and FBI Task Force Officer Michael Volpe sit down with Jonathan to allow him to explain why he's there. Once again, they allow him to talk freely, joking with him now and then, and offering some shared life experience comments to help put the man at ease. They begin with how he and Caitlin first got together. Only an audio recording of Jonathan's interrogation was made available.
Just because I'm trying to learn about you, like, how do you and Caitlin know each other?
We met through a dating website.
Your what website?
Mingle 2. Mingle 2.
Like number 2 or spelled out 2?
No, number 2.
Okay.
I was getting ready to delete it after having zero luck with all the dating websites and like trying to find somebody to date. And she sent me a message, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll entertain the idea of the message and see what this is. Probably going to be a scam. I say, oh, spend some time with me, it's going to call, how it always is on dating websites.
Right.
And then we started talking and we hit it off and
how long
long had you guys been chatting on Mingle 2 before you guys?
I'm trying to think, 'cause this was last year.
Oh, okay.
Probably about a month and a half.
Before you guys physically saw each other?
Yes.
Do you remember, like, when last year you met her?
It was the beginning of October.
Was when you saw each other the first time?
Yes, like actual face-to-face.
Okay. And then, so like end of September, you guys you found each other on Mingle 2?
Yes.
Okay. And then how many times have you guys seen each other since, I guess, October?
Well, we were together for like 2.5 weeks. I got arrested. Well, we both got picked up in Wood County for walking to a gas station at 5 o'clock in the morning to get something to drink and some cat food for a stray cat. Never again am I going to try to adopt a stray cat.
After hearing about his time in jail and how Caitlin came back to see him just after his release, showing up late one night, he goes on to tell the agents that his mom was probably off on a bender, claiming that she had recently developed an alcohol problem, along with marijuana and cocaine usage. The agents, knowing what Caitlin has already told them, give him time to speak and to get the false story out and out of the way. He does say that there was a lot of jealousy between his mother and Caitlin, that he could see it boiling up from the beginning.
I told her that I wanted to get back, be like back together with Caitlin, like where we could see each other, date, and whatever. And she just was not happy about that at all. She was like, "No, as long as you're living under my roof, not happening." Blah 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 blah.
Jonathan, at the end of almost 2 weeks that included the murder of his mother, a cross-country road trip in a stolen car, and the 2 nights spent in a Mexican jail, just breaks and begins telling the story once the Texas pawn shop information comes back up.
My gut's telling me to get a lawyer.
You're right as you're right, but based off the things that I've heard Caitlin say about you, I don't see that in you. Especially when it comes to your mother. I can't imagine you would have treated your mother that way. Again, I'd love to talk to you about it, because Caitlin said a lot of hateful things about you and what may have transpired. So if that's something you want to do, I would love to do it.
I do know that both Mom and Caitlin have said about each other that if one or the other interfered with something that they would go to the extreme about, like my mom saying, "Oh, let her be crazy, she tries something, I'll shoot her, blah, 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 blah." And I know Caitlin has said on numerous occasions, like the first time we were together and when we started talking the second time, saying, "If your mom tries to stop us from being together, then I will take action in my own hand." Not knowing exactly what she meant by that or anything, kind of a vague statement.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lean into the man's remaining feelings and make an appeal to the son who had lost his mom, the one who had spent his entire life being taken care of by her. Jonathan knows the gig is up, and he is at a time of reckoning. He asks for a lawyer. The agents agree that it is his right, and they walk out of the room to obtain one for him. It is just a matter of seconds, alone in the room with his own thoughts and guilt, before the man gets up, knocks on the door, and decides to come clean.
I decided that I'd rather talk to you guys instead of wait for a lawyer about the mom thing.
So I'm going to let you kind of know the topic of discussion, so I'm going to let you say what you want to say, and then if we have questions, we'll ask questions.
I was trying to cover for Caitlin by telling you I didn't know about my mom.
Okay.
We ended up going back to my mom's in my house after midnight when Mom was asleep, so they didn't have to deal with each other, and my mom didn't know Caitlin was going to be up here. Oh, sorry, in Ohio.
Mm-hmm. I got it now.
So we go back to the house. Caitlin and I hang out in my room. We cuddled and fell asleep. Wake up the next morning. I go out to have a cigarette, come back in, go back into my room, hang out with Caitlin for a minute. Go out to the kitchen or dining room area, hang out with my mom, smoke a joint with her. She's like, "Oh, I'm about to go up to the dispensary, blah, 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 blah. Do you want anything?" It's like, "Oh, the only thing I want is a cart, if you can get it." And, and she's like, "All right, well, I'll get ready to go." I'm like, "Okay." Well, I went back into my room, grabbed my cigarettes, and I was going to go out for another cigarette. Well, when I come back in, well, personally, when I'm outside, I hear something. I don't know exactly what it was, but definitely sounded like a voice struggling.
The voice struggling?
Yeah, like somebody getting hit or something. It just, through the door and everything, it just sounded like you can't really tell exactly what they were saying or anything. So I heard them finish my cigarette and when I went in, okay, I'm not going to forget this scene because there was a lot of blood. Caitlin went and I guess, I don't know when, like my mom was getting ready to walk off the door or what, she was in the kitchen and there was just blood everywhere. I don't know if Caitlin stabbed her or hit her over the head with something. And I immediately went into shock and just so much blood. I don't know exactly what else she did. I confronted her about it and she's like, I had to do it so we could be together. Well,
and where are you guys at when this conversation's happening?
Just outside of the kitchen. She has blood on her. I stepped in some because of how it got everywhere. So I had a little bit on my socks. Just from the splatter getting everywhere. I don't know, like I said, if she stabbed her, cut her, or what, but there was blood all over the kitchen. At this point, I sit down at the kitchen table and I'm looking at her and I'm like, what did you do? And she straight up told me she stopped her from being in the way of us being together. From there, we went.
And while you're in the house, do you see your mother?
Yeah, there is a body in the kitchen.
Okay. And then do you see where she's bleeding from or anything?
I couldn't tell because there's everywhere there was blood.
Okay.
Everywhere. Everything was coated. It was on the fridge. It was on the stove. It was near the sink. Didn't get into the sink. Go figure. The one easy place to clean, it didn't go.
Jonathan then goes to explain how the two went out to a local grocery store and then to a Lowe's home improvement store to get cleaning supplies, a pair of tarps, and some lunch at McDonald's. They've cleaned everything up, dumped his mother into a dumpster at an old apartment complex where he had lived at one time, and then decided that it was time to make the road trip. They eventually get around to asking him about the shooting Caitlin claimed happened along the way.
Is there anything that was maybe firearm related that happened?
Yes. Caitlin wanted to shoot somebody.
Okay.
I tried talking her out of it. She said that if I couldn't accept that she wanted to do that, then she didn't want to be together. And me at this point not having anybody else in the world, only having her, was like, all right, let's go for a drive. I purposely went down neighborhoods and stuff that people would not have been out at that time.
Your own time?
It was 5 or 6 in the morning, so right before and right at the start of the morning rush.
Okay. Daylight or still dark out?
The sun was coming up.
Okay.
Then I remember driving down the road that there was a bus stop thing.
Like a little
building thing. Yeah. Not like a building, but like a little overhang for sure.
Like awning. Yeah. Typical bus stop type stuff. Yeah.
And then I hear a bang. And I booked it straight to the expressway. And I don't think she hit anybody.
What did she say after?
Well, she complained about her ears ringing, which happens when you don't wear ear protection in a closed environment and shoot a gun. And then, as we were getting on the expressway, which wasn't even a couple minutes later, she's like, I can't believe I just shot somebody. I'm like, well, did you actually hit them? She's like, I don't know, I think so.
The agents had had enough, and Jonathan would be led to the local jail and held over to be extradited to stand trial in Ohio. Both Caitlin and Jonathan would eventually plead guilty to the murder of Nicole Jones and be sentenced to life in prison. The body of Nicole Jones still has not been found to this day. Justice may have been served in the end, but the cold and callous act will sit long and lonely in the small community just outside of Toledo, Ohio. Caitlin's view of the killing shared during her interrogation leaves a chilling reminder of how little some think of another's life.
Bad about killing her, or are you just kind of like whatever?
I don't feel bad about it because she was inappropriate towards him and she wouldn't let us be together. And you know what they say, like, you know, let people do them, let people be people, like, don't interfere with somebody's life because it's going to come right back on you.
Do you think she deserved to die for that?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, it's not like she was about to die anyways. So it's not like, it's literally, like, we all die at some point. It's not like she was literally about to die.
She was literally about to die?
No, I'm meaning it as, like, she was old already. And people, all of us, people in general, we all die at some point. And she was literally close to that age of dying. So I feel like it doesn't matter if I killed her or not. And I killed her because she gave me really two good reasons. She wouldn't let us to be together, and she was very inappropriate towards him.
Okay.
And it's like, she didn't have friends, she didn't have family. So it's like, and honestly, it's like I killed a nobody.
Well, what about the lady that was shot in Arizona?
I don't know about that person. I did that one out of anger.
Okay.
I just wanted to blow up steam, and I didn't even think about that.
If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and give us your take on it. And please subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 1 million, and we'd love to have you along. Also, hit the notification bell to know when we're revealing a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.